That in just a second, if you would like to join us on this foray into today, I think we might actually be able to call it broadcast excellence. Normally, it's broadcast competence that we strive for, but with big guests like the ones we have coming up, broadcast excellence we may finally achieve. Your number, 414-799-1130. That is the adventknows.com talk and text line. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email DOD@iHeartMedia.com. At Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live via the DanoCam. Also, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, and on our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show there. iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway contest is in its final week, so one of the last chances on this show to be able to win $1,000 plus a trip to Vegas is right now. Just text the word music, 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 to 200-200 between now and 55 past the hour. You know the drill by now. If your entry is picked at random, you win a trip for two to the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st. Included in this, round-trip airfare for two nights hotel stay, ground transportation, and tickets to both nights of the festival, plus a $1,000 gift card. If you enter this contest, you will get a confirmation text and information. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. In a letter to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, of course, the company that runs Facebook as well as WhatsApp, Instagram, a social media empire, he wrote Chairman Jordan to essentially admit to three things. One, the Biden-Harris administration put pressure on Facebook via the FBI and other agencies to suppress what it called misinformation about COVID-19 on the platform. In other words, the government was quite literally suppressing the First Amendment rights to freely express controversial ideas about hot-button political topics. You know, the sort of speech that the First Amendment was actually crafted to protect. Two, Facebook acceded to these demands, censoring that speech. In addition, even before the Biden-Harris administration was inaugurated in January of 2021, Facebook was suppressing information at the behest of a thoroughly corrupt FBI in order to swing the presidential election to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris by refusing to promote and actively getting rid of a very true story about Hunter Biden's laptop, first reported by the New York Post. As we have been reporting fairly extensively over the past nearly 4 years now, this is one of the biggest stories in the history of the United States. I say this without hyperbole, even though this sounds to be one of the most hyperbolic statements one could possibly make, right? Biggest story in the history of the United States. Give me a break. Think about it this way. Conservatives, I think, understand the gravity and magnitude of what happened, but let me put it in a way that libs might understand. Donald Trump in 2016 really was a Russian agent. We had smoking gun proof in the form of a very sexual love letter that Trump wrote to Vladimir Putin, saying things to Putin that the two of them would do at a hotel in Moscow that I can't repeat on the radio. The FBI had been in possession of this letter for the better part of a year. In fact, President Obama even tried to investigate this claim about the illicit, torrid affair between Trump and Putin. All Trump had to do for a night of pure passion with the Russian bear was to agree to become a Russian agent, run for the presidency and win. No, it's not totally far-fetched, and no, it's not the stuff of mentally ill, delusional libs. This is totally true. It totally happened. Obama tried to investigate it, but guess what? The evil, dastardly Republicans impeached him for launching an investigation into a very true thing. By the time the 2016 election rolled around, the New York Times had a bombshell story about this just 2 weeks before the election that implicated Donald Trump as a Russian stooge and Putin lover. Hillary Clinton tried her best to get the story out there. But FBI forces loyal to Donald Trump. Remember, it was James Comey who reopened the Hillary case. This was his last attempt at throwing the election to Donald Trump. He embedded agents in both Twitter and Facebook to tell them that this was Russian disinformation. The Russians were intentionally trying to hack into the election by posting a demonstrably false story about Trump and Putin and maybe some ladies of the evening in a Moscow hotel room. All Hillary wanted was the truth to be out there. The New York Times tried to post the story. They were suspended. And they were kicked off of Twitter for a while. They were kicked off of Facebook for a while. If you even dared to post a picture that came from that very real tryst between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, you too would be instantly suspended from Twitter or Facebook. Guess what? In one of the biggest political upsets in American history, Donald Trump won. Because Facebook and Twitter, we now know, suppressed the Russian collusion story. Obviously, none of this is true, but I need to hammer home the point. Liberals would be apoplectic. Liberals were apoplectic at a story that was out there, but completely and totally false and thoroughly debunked about 1 million times over. In the fall of 2020, the Hunter Biden laptop story directly implicated Joe Biden in one of the biggest international pay-to-play schemes that this country has seen in quite some time. There was irrefutable proof that Biden was part of it. And the laptop information was actually corroborated by one of the partners in Hunter Biden's illicit schemes, a man by the name of Tony Bobolinsky, who confirmed that, yes, the email 10 held by H for the big guy meant Hunter Biden would hold 10% of the profits of the influence peddling scam for the big guy, Joe Biden. We learned from Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter and subsequent publication of the Twitter files that FBI agents had in fact embedded themselves at Twitter for months, understanding that this story was likely to be broken, understanding it, of course, because the FBI actually had possession of Hunter Biden's laptop. They knew exactly what was in this laptop, but they feared it coming out before the election because they didn't want it to steer the election to Donald Trump. So they forced Twitter to suppress the story. I've told this story many times on this program in the 4 years since. I was making some stupid joke about something I don't even remember, but I took a picture from the New York Post reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop, and it was Hunter Biden passed out with his crack pipe. Okay, first of all, nobody was ever able to explain to me how exactly they were able to get pictures of Hunter Biden that were obviously Hunter Biden if this wasn't Hunter Biden's laptop. Nonetheless, I posted this picture and instantly, it was an algorithmic block, meaning no human being was involved in blocking my account. And I got a message that said, your account has been suspended because you've posted misinformation. It's Hunter Biden passed out with a crack pipe in his mouth. It's pretty self-explanatory. If I wanted my account unlocked, I had to take down the picture, which I did because I was like, well, I need my Twitter account. The New York Post actually remained suspended until after the election. They could not post anything during the last 2 weeks of a presidential election. We now know, based on this letter from Mark Zuckerberg to Jim Jordan, that Facebook faced the exact same pressure from the FBI. Facebook and Twitter do have the right as platforms or publishers. There's a distinction within federal law regarding the protections that each one has. But they do have the right to police their platforms for things that are truly objectionable. Child pornography, drug sales, that sort of thing. Terror plots. Political speech is absolutely protected by the First Amendment. Even if it is false, if you are a platform, you are not allowed to have any sort of editorial judgment. I'm not going to get into platform versus publisher here, but suffice it to say, information that is true, such as the Hunter Biden laptop, information that is true, such as ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, actually can help if you're diagnosed with COVID-19. Yes, treating COVID-19 like a cold, if of course you're not 85 years old and have a ton of respiratory issues, is probably the good health, normal health advice. Rest, exercise, vitamin C. This is the way to treat COVID. All of this was suppressed in early 2021. Now Zuckerberg, who you might recall spent hundreds of millions of dollars attempting to elect Joe Biden, is now saying, including in Wisconsin, where his money actually took over the election administration in the city of Green Bay in one of the most illegal things I have ever seen. I still can't believe, although I'm not surprised, that there haven't been criminal charges arisen out of. I actually outlined years ago all of the various criminal misconduct that went on in Green Bay when they turned their election administration over to one of Mark Zuckerberg's operators. Now, Zuckerberg spends hundreds of millions of dollars to try to swing the election in critical swing states like Wisconsin to Joe Biden. Now he's playing, oh, the big bad FBI was pressuring me. Oh, give me a break. Just like Twitter, you were willing participants in this censorship scam. He writes in relevant part, there's a lot of talk right now about how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the United States while waiting for fact checkers. He continues. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analyses I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal is to be neutral and did not play a role one way or another, or even appear to be playing a role, so I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectfully, Mark Zuckerberg, founder, chairman, and CEO, Meta Platforms Incorporated. The relevant question when you hear of something like this should always be, why? Why exactly is Zuckerberg writing this? Is it because he had a sudden change of heart? Was he visited by the ghost of censorship past, present, and future last night and just woke up and said, you know what, I'm a changed man? Is it because he's been red-pilled? He did, after all, say Trump pumping his fist and yelling, fight, 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 something that is currently being censored from public consumption. He did call that the most badass thing he'd ever seen. Or there's a third potential reason, which I think is the most likely. We will be back right after this to discuss on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Classical conservatism.
Contemporary style.
This is The Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Do you love your landscaping? Do you appreciate the perfect blend of plants, stone, and wood that embraces your home? Do you delight in sitting on your patio with a cool drink, taking in the beauty of your backyard? If you answer yes, then we have a lot in common. Now, one more question. Does all of this beauty disappear when the sun goes down? Since 1994, the experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services have been creating beautiful landscaping that can and should be enjoyed even after dark. If the beauty and pleasure of your landscaping disappears when the sun goes down, you should consider a fully automatic landscape lighting system. The experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services are gifted at creating deliciously soft, subtle nighttime scenes. To schedule a meeting with one of our lighting designers, please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Save big on everything for your next project at Menards. Rust-Oleum's 5-in-1 spray paint lets you choose from 5 unique spray patterns with a twist of the dial. Use it on a wide range of wood or metal projects for long-lasting results. Available in 40 color options at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. Visit jdpower.com for details and menards.com for deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Dan here for CertaPro Painters, which provides excellent workmanship, quality, and a worry-free painting process for both residential and commercial spaces, all at the right price. You can trust them to get the job done right and done safely. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Jerry Padgett, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
up in about 10 minutes. Tulsi Gabbard joins the Dan O'Donnell Show to discuss her endorsement yesterday of former President Donald Trump, a lifelong left-wing Democrat. Not just a Democrat, but a left flank of the Democratic Party Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard is so concerned about the authoritarian lurch of her party that she endorsed a Republican, and not just a Republican, Donald Trump. We will discuss with her why. I don't think it was a coincidence, or if it was a coincidence, it was a pretty big one, that the Zuckerberg letter was released yesterday. It was sent to the Judiciary Committee and released yesterday. The same day, it's proven that the Democratic Party actually is remarkably authoritarian in its willingness to suppress free speech that might cost it any modicum of power. Forget about costing it an election. The idea that they would suppress absolutely true statements like, hey, the vaccine doesn't seem to be totally effective. Hey, you can still get COVID-19 even if you've had about 15 different booster shots, is a true statement. In the summer of 2021, you would get suspended from Facebook. You would get thrown off. It was the reason that we used to have a DanoCam years ago, and we actually abandoned it because we would have Ron Johnson on. We would have Rebecca Clayfish. We would have candidates for governor and senator in a key swing state of Wisconsin. And they would say things, and we would get suspended. I would be booted off I can't even tell you how many suspensions I racked up in that summer of 2021, summer of 2022. It was unreal. All of that stopped, interestingly enough, when Elon bought Twitter. Do you know why? Because they were terrified that half of the audience would just flee Facebook and go solely to Twitter, now known as X. The reason that Zuckerberg put out that letter, though, is, I believe, A, he's getting ahead of a whistleblower. There was somebody who was going to say this exact thing before the House Judiciary Committee, and Zuckerberg wanted to mitigate the damage and say, oh, the FBI bullied us. No, the whistleblower is likely going to say, oh, yeah, Facebook was totally down with this. The FBI was showing them all this and what to censor and how to censor and all of this. We've known this with respect to Twitter for years. Zuckerberg also has seen the fate of the founder of Telegram, who was arrested over the weekend in France, ostensibly because of child pornography and other bad content on his platform, but really because Telegram is another free speech platform. Zuckerberg, I think, is scared, and all of the tech magnates are scared of suffering the same fate should they dare set foot in a country that doesn't have a First Amendment. Wait, what am I talking about? It seems as though America doesn't have a First Amendment either. Tulsi Gabbard joins the show coming up next.
Our southern border is wide open, allowing drugs, gangs, and criminals to flood into our communities. We need to get tough. But Senator Tammy Baldwin supported amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants, including convicted criminals. Like an illegal immigrant with multiple DUI charges, he should have been deported. Instead, he stayed and drove drunk yet again and killed a Wisconsin father of 3. And Baldwin voted 9 times to support sanctuary cities that protect dangerous illegal immigrant criminals and release them back onto the streets. Call Senator Tammy Baldwin, 608-264-5338. Urge her to support S-4689, the Justice for Jocelyn Act. No amnesty for illegal immigrants, especially criminals. Vote to finally secure the border. Paid for by One Nation, www.onenationamerica.org.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting, and I'm often asked, what does Color Wheel do? Well, I'll tell you. Color Wheel Painting puts smiles on people's faces. Color Wheel puts you, your spouse, your kids, your pets at ease with its approachable, shockingly normal, easy to get along with staff. Color Wheel makes the time to answer your questions. Color Wheel returns calls, emails, text messages, and we do it quickly because Color Wheel knows you're busy and need answers. That's right, we're reachable, communicative, proactive, and accountable. Color Wheel is dedicated to giving you wonderful service and results. We work with you, not against you, and Color Wheel always makes things right when the occasional thing goes wrong, and that matters. We run from nothing. Color Wheel Painting. We're 20 years in, a track record to trust. We do fantastic things. Oh, and we paint. Color Wheel Painting. ColorWheelPainting.com.
Before you buy an annuity, or worse yet, a variable life insurance policy, give us a chance to tell you both sides of the story.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
Go to financialstrategiesinc.com.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Plumbing is kind of like the human body. A complex network of curvy, twisting pipes that keep vital fluids moving and your home grooving. And just like the human body, sometimes your plumbing can get a little backed up. When this happens, it's good to call in a professional, like Mr. Holland's Home Services. Sure, there's a shelf full of over-the-counter remedies to choose from. But let's face it, those do-it-yourself drain cleaners lack the potency to power through your plugged-up pipes. We may not have a GI doctor on staff at Mr. Holland's Home Services, but our proficient plumbers do have extensive experience in eliminating impactions, cleaning up clogs, and de-straining drains. Mr. Holland's crew navigates your pipes, joints, elbows, and T's to keep water flowing to where it should be going. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If your home's plumbing is asking for a laxative, we can help.
Are you looking for a restaurant where you can get breakfast any time of day? Look no more, because the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield is the answer. Just take Highway 41 to the Holy Hill exit, turn west, and then take a right at Wolf Road, just over the railroad tracks. You'll see the Sawmill just around the bend on your left.
If you're a proud American, that means if someone comes after your family, you gotta be ready. That's why you need the Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit from My Patriot Supply. Their Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and flavorful meals. Not only does that include creamy chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory cheesy broccoli soup, but you'll also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans. The Emergency Food Kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well-fed and ready for anything. It's your solemn duty as an American to protect your family without waiting for handouts. And that starts with emergency food that you can depend on. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now to save $300 on your Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit. My Patriot Supply offers free shipping too. Get your Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hey business owners, it's Joe Breyer with Lake Country Advisors. Are you thinking about selling your business? It's a big decision, and most business owners aren't sure really where to begin. That's why at Lake Country Advisors, we offer free exit strategy consultations. Our team will meet with you in person and will discuss the value of your business and answer all your questions on how to sell your business confidentially. So contact us today by visiting LakeCountryAdvisors.com. That's Lake Country Advisors, changing the way businesses change hands.
I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, if you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people.
That is Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman and Democratic presidential candidate, yesterday in a joint appearance with former President Donald Trump endorsing Trump in 2024. We are awaiting a phone call from Tulsi Gabbard, who will be calling any minute now. The importance of this cannot be understated, although it wasn't especially a surprise. We've had Gabbard on a number of times, and she said, look, I'm supporting Donald Trump. I want Trump to win. I think the Democratic Party has abandoned me. This follows hot on the heels, and I don't think that's a coincidence, of Bobby Kennedy's endorsement, which was a little bit more surprising. But right around the middle of the Democratic National Convention, his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, said, look, we're weighing our options here. Either we're going to stay in this race or we're going to endorse Trump. We're going to drop out and endorse Trump. That sent the media into something of a tizzy, because they understand that Kennedy on the ballot actually was drawing a little bit more from Trump's support than it was from Kamala Harris's. We discussed this yesterday. The double haters, those who didn't like Joe Biden, also didn't like Donald Trump, were fleeing to third-party candidates. And this often happens. It happens in elections where the two major party candidates aren't particularly well-loved. In 2016, this was a big reason that the Green Party garnered 33,000 votes. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, did the liberal Wisconsin Supreme Court actually fairly interpret and apply Wisconsin election law? I, for one, am stunned. We'll get into that coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Plus, apparently you can have your political opponents arrested for lying about you. Did you know this, Producer Dave? If you are in Milwaukee County and you lie about your political opponent in a mailer, you can face criminal charges. Since apparently a Republican did it to a Democrat. Yeah, I know. This is why. Also coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, I will hereby be calling for the arrest of Senator Tammy Baldwin. This brings me no joy to do, but I believe if misinformation is not going to be tolerated in Wisconsin's elections, I fear we have absolutely no choice but to arrest Senator Baldwin. I do apologize. It appears that we had some crossed wires, or possibly an interview that Tulsi is doing right now is going long. It does happen. What generally occurs with this is candidates or people who speak on behalf of candidates, they're known as surrogates, they'll do a day of radio. They'll block off 3-4 hours. And they'll literally just do interview. And while we're told as radio hosts that you have exactly 8 minutes, we tend to be a little bit long-winded, and sometimes those interviews go long. So, Producer Dave, are you reaching out to our communications agency? Oh, okay, perfect. He said, we're reaching out to we don't know if it's Tulsi's people, if it's Tulsi's cell phone we have a number that we're trying to reach, so we will get her on. We'll get her on at some point today. A reminder, at 10:35, we do have Eric Trump as well. Democrats have been making a big deal out of how many former Bush, McCain, and Romney staffers came out at the Democratic National Convention to endorse Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, weren't George W. Bush and John McCain and Mitt Romney all at one point Democrats, Hitler, George W. Bush in 2004, John McCain in 2008, Mitt Romney in 2012. It's remarkable how they become. It was hilarious to me watching all the way across the world in France, of all places. Democrats giddy with glee that the special surprise guest on the final night of the DNC wasn't going to be their goddess queen Beyonce, but rather George W. Could you? They were giddy. Don Lemon was practically ecstatic over the idea that George W. Bush was going to speak at the DNC and endorse Kamala Harris. George W. Bush, the war criminal. George W. Bush, the torture monger who is responsible for the atrocities at what Rush lovingly called Club Gitmo, as well as Abu Ghraib. Really, that George W. Mitt Romney, who killed a guy's wife, who put his dog on the roof of his car, who didn't care about 47% of the country. That Mitt Romney, huh? John McCain, who had one break from the media. It's sort of like that couple that you knew in high school or college who is always breaking up and making up, and then eventually they get married and live happily ever after until one of the spouses dies of old age. That was the media's love affair with John McCain. They were on a brief break while he was running for president and might have actually cost Barack Obama his coronation. But they were back in good graces. But boy, oh boy, during that 6-month stretch, John McCain was just as bad as W. Remember, they were calling him John McSame because he voted with W, and he was just as bad of a warmonger as W himself. It was almost as if Dick Cheney was running. But John McCain, when he died, and few remember this, McCain died at roughly the same time, a couple weeks before George H.W. Bush passed away. Who had the bigger funeral? Easily McCain. McCain had 2 of them. Yeah, McCain, who had more funerals, do you think, George Floyd or John McCain? It was close. McCain had one in Arizona. He had one where he was lying in state, or was he lying in repose? I forget the rules for that. I'm sure he was lying in state in the Capitol Rotunda. It was nonstop because the media was doing its level best. And of course, what was the big story was Trump is not invited. Oh, Meghan McCain. Oh, Meghan McCain is, I think we've had her on the show before. Yeah, years ago. I think this predates you, producer Dave. She was, and I hate to say this, but she was savoring every minute of the media's attention. Obviously, she was devastated by the death of her father. I mean, clearly, I couldn't imagine that pain. My father is fortunately still with us. He is the lead researcher for Guess What's Racist. He's my golfing buddy. He can't go anywhere. We need Father O'Donnell here. But I couldn't imagine the death of either of my parents. It would be devastating. But she clearly was loving all the media attention that she was getting, and her ability to just rail on Donald Trump for that 4 weeks of funerals for her father. Then George H.W. Bush died like 6 weeks later, and it was sort of an afterthought. It's like, oh, yeah, we got to do a state funeral again? Oh, okay, I guess. The media, of course, glommed onto the fact that Trump wasn't invited to that funeral either, but it was nothing like the McCain funeral. Now, Republicans sort of have the shoe on the other foot. There are very prominent Democrats who are defecting from the party, not because it's moved too far to the right, but because it's lurched so far to the left. We've gone from neo-socialism and the free-spirited, free speech, free love hippie era of the boomers when they were young to the do as we say or else mantra of the lib boomers who now control the state and have become the man that they once so hated. there are a number of other libs who are getting dangerously close to being red-pilled. I think the next domino to fall, I'm telling you, I've been seeing it for maybe 3 years now. Bill Maher. Bill Maher despises Trump on a visceral level, but he understands what the Democratic Party has become. Producer Dave asks, does the Tulsi endorsement matter as much as the RFK? No, it's not even close. And this is no disrespect to Tulsi because we know she's fantastic. She's an incredible advocate but she's been saying the same stuff for months. Also, she wasn't in the race and potentially drawing votes away from Trump. All right, we're going to try to see if we can't get Tulsi. Do you think we could try to reschedule her for 10:06, producer Dave? Yeah, if something clearly got messed up. I am going to investigate during the commercial break. When we come back, the unhinged liberal of the day, right here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
These days, there are Books of the Month clubs, Jelly of the Month clubs, and even a Sock of the Month club. But they can't beat our club. You can sign up for clubs delivering cheese, cigars, bacon, and bow ties. But do any of those clubs provide comfort? Okay, maybe the bacon. But no other club achieves the level of monthly comfort produced by Club 1717 from Mr. Holland's Home Services. The Jerky of the Month Club can't offer guaranteed 2-day priority service and same-day emergency service on heating and air and plumbing and electrical work. The Mustache of the Month Club doesn't give you discounts on repairs and new equipment. And the Nuts of the Month Club won't perform biannual precision tune-ups and safety checks on your equipment. But we do. Join Club 1717 for just $17.17 a month. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Want to join the coolest club in town? We can help.
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Tailor-made floors, family-owned since 1948, with 76 years of experience. We serve Washington, Ozaukee, Dodge, Milwaukee, and Waukesha counties. Located in Jackson, just a short drive north of Menominee Falls and Germantown. We offer a huge selection of carpets, waterproof vinyl planks and tiles, hardwood, laminate, and sheet vinyl. Choose from all the major brands. Take it with you or let us install it. Before you buy anywhere else, get an estimate from Tailor-Made Floors.
Get everything for your next project today at Menards and save big money. Suncast storage sheds are the perfect solution for protecting and organizing your outdoor tools and lawn equipment. Plus, they're low maintenance and easy to assemble. Save big on all Suncast storage sheds today at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. Visit jdpower.com for details and menards.com for deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Want to give as much money as possible to the government when you die? Didn't think so. Attorney Rob Mielek has helped thousands of clients maximize their financial legacy. Hear more on Your Hometown Lawyer, Saturday at 3 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Remember, fail to plan, plan to fail. MielekLaw@wi.com.
Blue Mountain Express.
This is Rick Vanderboom with Blue Mountain Express, moving and storage, and we'll improve your move.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express, moving and storage, statewide.
As I suspected, we did have some crossed wires on Congresswoman Gabbard's end. Some of our listeners are noting that I promised broadcast excellence on the show and am now back down to broadcast competence. I blame Tulsi. We are trying to get her on at 10:15. As I suspected, I'm in communication with her communications person, and he says she has another interview at 10:03, but could do it after, I think. Okay, stand by. This is how, just a little peek behind the curtain of how the broadcast business works, how this stuff. We are always, or even during the commercial breaks, we're not sitting back and sipping coffee. Okay, most of the time we are sitting back and sipping coffee, gossiping about other people at work. Now, during fantasy football season, yes, that's when we usually are, producer Dave and I are talking about who isn't paying attention to their roster, who we can fleece in a trade. Usually it's our former producer, Armin. No, we are working nonstop. Hopefully we are going to have quite possibly the biggest guest interviews. I'm even below broadcast competence right now because I can't even speak. We are going to have the biggest hour of guest interviews we have ever had. Hopefully, Tulsi Gabbard, 10:15, and then at about 10:35-ish, Eric Trump. Right now, though, hopefully I won't screw this one up. Unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is Kerry Kennedy, but it really could be applied to any of the Kennedys who yesterday came out and wrote an open letter denouncing their brother for daring to think differently from them. Kerry was on the Joy Reid show last night.
Personally, I completely disavow and separate and disassociate myself from my brother, Bobby Kennedy, and his flagrant and inexplicable effort to desecrate and trample and set fire to to Daddy's memory.
Okay, I swear I'm not making fun. Does she have the same vocal melody that Bobby does? It sounds like, I don't know. It could have been the Zoom audio, says producer Dave. And she sounds like Bobby, who obviously has a vocal fold issue. My wife she's a former speech pathologist. She knows exactly what he's got. And I'm sure she's probably going to be texting in right now. No, it's not how she said it. It's what she said that makes Kerry Kennedy your unhinged liberal of the day. Unhinged because in far too many families, This goes on, and it's almost invariably a liberal who disowns and just ceases contact with a conservative family member or friend. You rarely see it go the other way, don't you? When is the last time? We always laugh about the stories that appear before Thanksgiving. How to talk to your MAGA uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. It's always the blue-haired, nose-ringed they-them, just back from the first semester at college, where they read about a quarter of Karl Marx's book, and they are intensely radicalized, that just have a deep, abiding hatred for anyone who thinks differently from them. When that hatred actually gets to the point where you're saying, I completely disavow, I personally disavow my own brother, come on. One of my brothers leans a little bit more to the left. He's very apolitical, so it's not really, he might be listening to. Does that make me love him any less? Does it make him not proud of what his older brother does? Of course not. He would never in a million, at least I hope not. Pat, if you're listening, you doggone well better not. No, it doesn't. If you have healthy relationships and you're a mentally stable person, and this gets back to, I hate to keep coming back to this, but as we've been talking about over the last couple of months, one of the undercurrents of modern liberal woke politics and this grievance culture is mental instability and mental illness. It's backed by pretty much every survey that's ever been done, every scientific study that's ever been done in any way linking political ideology and mental health. It's found that conservatives are just far more mentally healthy and satisfied in their lives and their relationships than liberals. And I think a part of that is because liberals just have this tendency far more than conservatives to not be able to accept that people think differently from them. Look, my best friend from when I was, 6 years old is a Bears fan. Okay? We agree on everything, on politics. He loves the Brewers. He didn't go to Marquette, but he's like a way bigger Marquette basketball fan than I am. And I was a senior when they went to the Final Four. I love me some Marquette basketball. I'm a third generation Marquette, bigger Marquette. Would I, over that one disagreement that I love I'm a Packers owner, by the way. So I have been spending my morning cutting players. Unfortunately, it is my sad duty as an owner to report to you that we have cut Anders Carlson, the kicker. No real surprise there. And I was actually the one. Out of the, 50,000 Packers owner, I was the one that said we need to trade for Malik Willis. So you're welcome. Would I, as a Packers owner, ever disown my buddy Brandon because he's a Bears fan? No, of course not. We tease each other. We make fun of each other. Clearly, I have had the upper hand over the last 30 to 35 years, but it's just something that we think differently on. We have now confirmed Tulsi Gabbard will join us at about 10:15, followed by Eric Trump. Yes, we're sure, Dave. Shut up in there. We'll be right back.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Both members of the Republican presidential ticket will be back in Wisconsin this week. Vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance is set to speak tomorrow in De Pere. It'll be Vance's fourth visit to the key battleground state in August alone. Vance is expected to talk about the economy, inflation, and energy. Vance's previous stops include Kenosha last week. In his first trip to Wisconsin since the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, former President Donald Trump has scheduled a town hall in downtown La Crosse Thursday. The Green Party will remain on the November ballot in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Supreme Court yesterday rejected a request from Democrats to remove Dr. Jill Stein from the presidential election ballot. Democrats filed a complaint with the Wisconsin Elections Commission earlier this year, saying the Green Party hadn't properly qualified for the election, and Democrats appealed to the Supreme Court. The court's decision says Democrats aren't entitled to request someone be removed from a ballot. A federal judge in Texas yesterday temporarily blocked a Biden administration program allowing undocumented immigrants married to U.S. citizens to apply for green cards without leaving the U.S. In filing the suit, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton says the program, which the White House calls Keeping Families Together, directly violates the laws created by Congress. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Brewers open a series with the San Francisco Giants tonight at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Ahlin on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Another hot and humid day today with an excessive heat warning in effect. It'll feel like 105 at times. Actual air temperature around 94. Overnight tonight will stay warm around 70 but cool down tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Storage Mart.
Too much stuff and not enough space? Storage Mart is here to help. Find secure and affordable storage solutions for home, office, and more at a Storage Mart near you. Visit storage-mart.com today to rent space online. Storage Mart. Make room for more.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
The reviews are in for Window Nation, and this month you can save. August is their anniversary sale. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months. Act now. Call them 866-90-NATION or online at windownation.com.
Everything must go while supplies last. Take advantage of huge discounts during our end of summer clearance. Thielman Group, Southeast Wisconsin's premier heating and cooling dealer, has 3 warehouses full of equipment that needs to be sold to make room. Whether you're in West Bend, Oconomowoc, Racine, or anywhere in between, we've got you covered. This offer is while supplies last, so when they're gone, they're gone. Call us today at 262-288-4654 or visit our website at thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's, group.com.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
September baseball is coming, and every Brewers game means even more this time of year. Get to American Family Field as the crew takes on the Rockies September 6th through the 8th. Get your seats now at Brewers.com.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Learn the secrets to create your own ultimate backyard retreat with Brett Ochtenhagen of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN. Learn more at seasonalservices.com.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Smart speakers get a whole lot smarter when they're playing News Talk 1130 WISN. Just ask Alexa or Siri to play WISN Radio and bask in the glow of insight and enlightenment.
Kennedy does have the same vocal condition as her brother, Bobby Kennedy Jr. It's called vocal spasmodic dysphoria, which apparently does run in families. I mean, that's the only conclusion you could draw, right? It's interesting. I don't know. I'm married to a speech pathologist. Obviously, I'm going to find this stuff interesting. Producer Dave, don't chortle at me. We do have to move very quickly. This is going to be a brief segment because coming up at 10:15, as I suspected, Tulsi Gabbard had interviews that ran long, and we were kind of squeezed out. What usually happens is it's sort of like when movie stars do, they're called press junkets, and they will just sit in a room to promote their movie, and interviewers will come in with their cameras, boom, 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 boom. Political figures do that too. They usually block off a day for radio. This is why a lot of times you'll hear Ron Johnson on the same shows. He'll do Jay in the morning. He'll do me. He'll do Vicky's show. Well, he does Vicky's show pretty much every day. So that's not totally unusual. But like Brian's style, we'll do it. You'll hear him one day on Jay. It's because they have media teams that will tell them, okay, today you're doing radio. Now, obviously, we can get these politicians on when we want if they're doing something. In fact, I've been meaning to get Style on because he's investigating smurfing, the abuse of the Democrats' Act Blue system for massive, massive money laundering. And I've been wanting to talk about that with him. Unfortunately, we had our Operation Overlord trip get in the way. I was off for about a week, folks. I will tell you, I am probably not going to be off at all until after the election. Yeah, until 2026, says producer Dave. I do have a funeral. Oh my gosh, is that next week already? Oh, shoot. I might be off next week, Thursday. I have a funeral. I'm sorry. I can't control when people pass away. Dave's looking at me like, what do you mean? Okay, yes, I know. I just got done saying I'm not going to be off at all. Turns out that was a lie. I'm telling you, I am going from broadcast excellence, what we promised, to broadcast competence. Now we're all the way down to broadcast mediocrity. I won't even be broadcasting because next Thursday it's going to be broadcast absence. That's what it's going to be. We're going to be all the way down. So, all right. Do we have time to get into a very, very brief topic? She's supposed to be on 10:15. How brief is the topic? The Wisconsin Supreme Court actually did something right. Boom. Done. That's all I need to say. The Wisconsin Supreme Court yesterday, in what I consider to be a major surprise, rejected the challenge to the Green Party's placement on the ballot, which everyone knows was frivolous in the extreme. It was trying through a tortured interpretation of Wisconsin's ballot placement law to claim that the Green Party, because it doesn't have any elected representatives or party officials, elected officials or appointed officials to serve as electors to the Electoral College, it couldn't be on the ballot. Well, that applies to every minor party, the Constitution Party, the Libertarian Party. If you want to just invent a political party, it would be a ruling by the court that would knock off every single third party. And the Supreme Court clearly doesn't want to do that because the Libertarians are always there to steal votes away from the Republicans. So they actually, without any explanation, just rejected the challenge. The Green Party stays on the ballot. This is obviously very, very good news for Donald Trump in a state that's almost certainly going to be divided almost 50-50. Remember, in 2016, the election was decided by 20,000 votes. In 2020, the election was decided by 20,000 votes. There is very little reason to believe that in 2024, the election won't be decided by a similar margin. The Green Party on the ballot and Bobby Kennedy off the ballot, who would pull votes away from the Trump-Vance ticket, and the Green Party, which would pull votes away from the Harris-Walz ticket. On balance, it's been a very good couple of days in these swing states for Donald Trump. We will discuss all that and more with, we hope, Tulsi Gabbard, who joins the show coming up next. Conservative thought, not just talk. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Get ready to win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, and $1,000.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Buy tickets now at AXS.com.
Own the moment with the Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses. Wear timeless styles with technology that lets you listen to music, capture pictures and videos, live stream, make a hands-free call or text, and even ask Meta AI questions on the go, all while you stay present in the moment.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Hey, Dan here. When it comes to painting, don't do it yourself. Call the pros at your local CertaPro painters. They provide excellent workmanship, quality, and a worry-free process for both residential and commercial spaces, all at the right price. Now, each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated right here. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
If you're a proud American, that means if someone comes after your family, you got to be ready. That's why you need the Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit from My Patriot Supply. Their Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and flavorful meals. Not only does that include creamy chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory cheesy broccoli soup. But you'll also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans. The emergency food kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well fed and ready for anything. It's your solemn duty as an American to protect your family without waiting for handouts. And that starts with emergency food that you can depend on. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now to save $300 on your mega 3-month emergency food kit. My Patriot Supply offers free shipping too. Get your mega 3-month emergency food kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com.
I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people.
Yesterday, former Congresswoman and Democrat Tulsi Gabbard endorsed former President Donald Trump. Right now, she joins us live on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Thank you so much, Congresswoman. It is always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
So you outlined the case for former President Donald Trump very succinctly and eloquently yesterday. What I was hoping you would do for us today is why you've sort of ended up here. What was it that pushed you away from the Democratic Party, which had been your home for pretty much your entire adult life?
It's a great question because it not only, the answer to this question is not only my story, it's the story of many Americans across the country who maybe have been Democrats their whole lives or have always voted Democrat, but are seeing the truth as I experienced over many years of serving in Congress, of being vice chair of the DNC, even being a Democratic candidate for president, about how today's Democrat Party is unrecognizable from the party that I joined over 20 years ago. The very things that drew me to become a Democrat when I was 21 years old, the Democratic Party stands diametrically opposed to them. I joined the party because I saw a big open tent party. It welcomed people from all different backgrounds, different views, different religions, welcomed a vibrant open marketplace of ideas. It stood up for free speech and civil liberties, and it was really the party of President John F. Kennedy, of Martin Luther King. And in every one of those areas, today's Democrat Party is doing the exact opposite. It's led by this elitist cabal of woke warmongers who are doing everything they can to tear our country apart, to undermine our fundamental God-given rights and freedoms. And they have us embroiled in multiple wars around the world and pushed us closer to the brink of nuclear war than ever before. They are not an open tent party. They do not welcome anyone who has a different view than the Democrat elite. And in fact, as I have experienced, if you challenge their position or if you offer an opposing view, they will do everything they can to destroy you. And not only to destroy your character, as they have mine for years, but to weaponize, and this is the most dangerous thing, to weaponize the levers of power within our own government, to go after their political opponents, directly undermines the First Amendment, in which our founders gave us, enshrined in the Constitution, our right to free speech, specifically to challenge those in power. And as you may have seen recently, obviously Donald Trump has been their enemy number one, who they've targeted, but recently they added me to a secret domestic terror watch list.
Yep.
Simply for telling the truth about Kamala Harris and how dangerous she would be as president.
You believe that obviously she would, and this is not new, by the way. The most viral moment, I think, involving Kamala Harris of the 2020 presidential primary was actually you systematically dismantling her in one of the primary debates. So this is not new. You understand it, I think, have for a long time, Vice President Harris's character, but with all the attacks on former President Trump's character. What do you see in him that would remedy all of what you call the government abuses, the oppression, and the weaponization of government?
You know, as I've gotten to know him, the stark contrast between Donald Trump, the person, versus Donald Trump, the caricature that the media and the Democrat elite have created is very, very stark. You know, I've had a chance to spend quite a bit of time with him, and what I have seen and witnessed is somebody who really cares about our country. You know, his life would be so much easier and so much less stressful and more comfortable if he were not to run for president again. If he were to stay home, play golf, spend time with his family, spend time with his friends, he wouldn't be dealing with the onslaught of attacks and assaults through the judicial system, through the media, even to his finances that we've seen. He's doing this because he recognizes the dire straits that we're facing in our country, and he recognizes his unique capability to be able to go in and dismantle the power of the deep state, the administrative state, the bureaucratic state, those in power who believe that we, the people, exist to serve their interests rather than the other way around. And this is why he has gotten attacked in every possible way. It's because the powers that be, both elected and unelected, recognize he is not going to bend the knee or toe the line for them. He is his own person. He's not a politician, whether you like that or not. He's real. He's a real person who has strong views and strong convictions, and that threatens their power. And that should give us an idea of the choice before us. Do we want someone in Kamala Harris who will be and is already controlled by the military-industrial complex and the deep state? Or do we want Donald Trump, who you may not agree with the way he says things or does things, but the fact of the matter is our country and the American people were better off when he was in office than when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took office.
Tulsi Gabbard joining us live on the Dan O'Donnell Show following her endorsement of former President Trump on a deeper level. Congresswoman, do you think the Republican Party now embodies the values of free speech, of capitalism, of the rejection of what you said was the military-industrial complex, big pharma, the things that the Democratic Party used to support? Do you believe that the Republican Party has now claimed the mantle of the party of the people, the populist movement of, say, the Kennedy Democratic Party?
The Republican Party is certainly moving in that direction. You know, the Republican Party is not everyone does not walk in lockstep in the Republican Party as they do now in the Democratic Party. There are people with different views in the Republican Party. It is an open tent party. They have fierce debates on the floors of Congress and in public and in Republican primaries, because there are very different views. And some people may see that as a negative thing, but I see that as a positive thing, because that's how our democracy is supposed to work. The Republican Party certainly is moving in the direction of being the party of the people. We see this in Donald Trump, and he's had a huge role in shifting the Republican Party of George W. Bush toward a Republican Party that represents the interests of the people rather than elitist or corporate interests. We see more and more voices in the Republican Party standing up against the neocon military-industrial complex. We see more and more people in the Republican Party standing up for freedom and standing up for our civil liberties, whereas in the Democratic Party, and this is one of the reasons why I left, I detail in my book, For Love of Country, all of the reasons I left the Democratic Party, but foremost among them is that it's a party that's against freedom and that forces compliance and conformity, and if you don't comply, then they will destroy you. And that to me is something that is more indicative of a dictatorship and an authoritarian government than it is a democratic republic.
Well, and that's the thing. The very idea of progressivism or liberalism, it seems, especially over the past, 4 years, really since the rise of the what I call woke autocracy, it seems as though liberals have abandoned all concept of liberalism.
They have, because it's really become more about power than any kind of deeply held principles. And this is why you hear Kamala Harris standing on the DNC convention stage saying that she's going to be a champion for freedom when she has spent the last 3.5 years undermining our freedom of speech. You have Mark Zuckerberg just came forward and said publicly that the Biden-Harris administration bullied them at Facebook into censoring American speech. You have Kamala Harris saying she will be the champion for democracy, while in every way over the last 3.5 years, they've tried to undermine our democracy. They even tried to get Trump off the ballot in over 32 states, so voters wouldn't even have the option to vote for him. The list goes on and on, but the point is, I think, for voters who are listening, who may be undecided, don't listen to her words. Frankly, don't even listen to Donald Trump's words. Look at their record, because they both have a very clear record, and there couldn't be a greater contrast between Kamala Harris's record as Vice President of the United States over the last 3.5 years on every important issue versus Donald Trump's record that he had as president in 2016.
She is Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman and Trump endorser. Tulsi, could we ever possibly see you running for office as a Republican?
Anything is possible. My goal in life has always been and continues to be, how and where can I best be of service to God and to our country? And if that takes me in the direction of running for office, or if it takes me in a different direction, my goal is to be where I can make the most positive impact for our country.
Potentially serving in a Trump administration?
Possibly. If there's an opportunity for me to be able to take on a leadership role in helping to rein in this destructive, warmongering foreign policy the Biden-Harris administration has got us in, to get our Department of Defense back into focus on its core mission, to walk us back from the brink of war. If I have an opportunity to serve, I would love to take that challenge and that opportunity on.
Well, I think I speak for a whole lot of our listeners, Congresswoman, when I say we certainly hope you do take that challenge on. Tulsi Gabbard joining us. Ma'am, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
It's great to talk to you. Thank you for having me on. I apologize for the delay.
Oh, that's quite all right. I can imagine it's been a busy day for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for understanding.
Always, Congresswoman. She is Tulsi Gabbard. I am Dan O'Donnell. We are not done with the big guests here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Eric Trump will join us next. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott, and for lots of us, me included, it's inevitable. Joint pain or perhaps a diagnosis of bone-on-bone pain in your knees, back, hips, or shoulders, the kind of pain that can stop you from loving life. And if you've been told you need surgery, stop. There is another way. Longevity Health 360 offers state-of-the-art cellular therapies that provide lasting relief without surgery. They're the Midwest leaders in advanced regenerative therapies, treatments that harness your body's natural healing abilities without drugs, surgery, or downtime. Longevity Health 360 has a local team of board-certified physicians trained in orthopedics and regenerative medicine, and they're here to help rejuvenate joints and restore mobility. Call now for a consultation and MRI review, both free. Call 262-200-2700 or visit longevityhealth360.com. Don't settle for a life of steroids and surgery and pain pills. Call Longevity Health 360, 262-200-2700.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Looking to upgrade your bathroom? Check out Bath Fitter. One-day installation, no demolition, no mess, and they're celebrating 40 years in business this year. Call 262-395-4925 to make your appointment with Bath Fitter today.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer makes selling your home as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get a no-obligation cash offer in 24 hours. Make sure it works for you, then pick your closing date. We will handle literally everything else at no expense. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Dan O'Donnell, it's This Week with Annex Wealth Management, joined every week by the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. But this week in particular is going to go a long way in determining what the Fed does with respect to rate cuts, as we've got NVIDIA, inflation, and jobs all this week, Dave.
Yeah, that's for sure. Market-moving news. We'll get an NVIDIA report Wednesday after the bell. Of course, we're going to get a PCE, that's Personal Consumption Expenditures report. That is the Fed's favorite indicator, and we're going to look at that number. And of course, we get more jobs reports, and that will all lead into what the Fed is going to do on September 17th and 18th at their meeting. Highly, highly likely that they're going to lower interest rates by at least 25 basis points. But as you point out, Dan, there is a lot of information that goes into that. And one of the things that we're going to watch is we saw the BLS, which is an employment indicator from the government, overstate. So the BLS was BS, overstated by some 800,000 jobs. The unemployment rate has gone from 3.4 to 4.3. Obviously, still not great, but it'll look higher over the next several weeks, especially before the debate.
And before the election. Remember, all of this is happening in the context of a presidential election year. And after Labor Day, that's typically the time at which most people start to pay attention. No coincidence then that the September 10th debate right after that between Trump and Harris. Look, we know there's a whole lot of uncertainty in politics, which affects the markets, which affects your bottom line. And that's why we always say you need to know what you own and why you own it. Get a portfolio review. It's totally free. It's called a wealth metric, only available at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks so much for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Blue Mountain Express. We're gonna put a smile on your face. We make it easy. BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express, moving and storage, statewide.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Easily the biggest story of the week, the month, and it is in competition for biggest story of the year. The revelations by Facebook that the Biden-Harris administration pressured the company to censor Americans, that it did so, and that it did throttle the Hunter Biden laptop story. It is massive. And joining us now to talk about it is Eric Trump, returning to the program. Sir, it's always great to have you on.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be here.
This is a bombshell, to put it mildly.
Listen, Dan, nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, my father came down that escalator. We had never gotten so much as a traffic ticket in our lives, and they went after him ruthlessly. I mean, every aspect of the Democratic Party, they attacked him and our family in ways that, you can't even possibly imagine. I think the public saw about 1% of it, right? And that's the fake dossiers and the sham impeachments. And, I'm the subject of 110 different subpoenas. I was getting a subpoena every single day, just trying to dive into our life, trying to destroy our lives, trying to, subpoena every email that was ever sent, and they found absolutely nothing. They will stop at nothing. So when you tell me this, I mean, they tried to take my father off the ballots in Colorado, in Maine. They've tried to imprison him. They've tried to sue him civilly, criminally. Does it surprise me at all that one of the biggest social media platforms where my father had unbelievable love, they tried to pressure them to put out negative stories, to censor him? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg pulled him off of Twitter. I'm sorry, off of Facebook, as you remember. Yep. They pulled him off of Twitter as well before Elon owned it. They deplatformed him. They got rid of his voice. My wife has emails from Facebook literally saying, if you mention Donald Trump in any of your podcasts, I'm so sorry, we're going to remove it from the site. I mean, this is what they did. Zuckerberg spent, it's been reported over and over that he spent over $400 million of personal money, right, to make sure that the Democrats won. He used an entire platform. If that was my father, he'd be in jail. I mean, if my father was Mark Zuckerberg and he did what he did, it would be campaign finance, law violation. My father would be in jail for doing what he did. $400 million plus using the biggest social media platform, and now he comes out, oh, I'm so sorry. And not just that. Virtually every person who's listening right now has posted some story on social media and one of two things happens. They've either been censored because of it, or the dials on that post have been turned way down where they didn't like it. I mean, look at the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post was literally suspended from various platforms for posting a story that was 100% truthful because they came out 2 weeks before the election and said it was Russia disinformation. It's disgusting what's happening. I mean, we have a First Amendment right as a country. It's the most important right that we arguably have. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, right? Freedom to speak against the government. And what do these people do? They pressure the biggest media companies, and just look at the mainstream media. I mean, look at NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC. I mean, clearly they've succumbed to that pressure because they may as well be the PR arm of the Democratic Party. But to know that a platform like Facebook could be pressured by the United States government, by Kamala Harris, by Joe Biden, to censor and rip people off, their political opponents off of these platforms, and to punish so many people listening to us right now because they posted a story that they thought was thought-provoking or interesting. Yep. It's disgusting. And honestly, there needs to be real consequences.
This, I think, is the largest violation of Americans' First Amendment rights in the history of this country. Facebook and Twitter primarily they are the two platforms that serve now as the digital town square. We do know via the Facebook files, or rather the Twitter files, published by Elon Musk a couple of years ago, right after he bought the platform, that the Biden-Harris administration and even what we would call the deep state when your father was president were actively colluding with Twitter to essentially, for lack of a better word, rig the election in favor of their favored candidate, Joe Biden, by deliberately suppressing a story that they knew to be true, the Hunter laptop scandal, which implicated the father, Joe Biden, in an international pay-to-play influence peddling and bribery scheme right before the election. And now we have confirmation from Mark Zuckerberg himself, who, you're right, especially in Wisconsin, Eric. You might remember that the Zuckerbucks scandal, which essentially took over election operations in Green Bay, very likely tipping the state, which was only won by 20,000 votes. I mean, for him to now say, oh, yes, we were willing tools of the United States government. This is something that, as you said, needs to have real consequences, because it is, I think, the biggest ongoing scandal. Because national media, okay, they're in the tank for Democrats. We all know this. We've known this since the days of Walter Cronkite. But now you have forces within government actively violating the First Amendment rights of every single American who uses those platforms.
Yeah, and honestly, I have firsthand experience with this. I mean, I'm a pretty well-known guy at this point. I've been on that stage for over a decade now. I spoke right before my father at all the conventions. I'm out there. I've spent more time in Wisconsin and all. I mean, he wouldn't allow my Facebook following or my Instagram following to grow by one person over the last 10-year period of time. They literally put a cap on me, and every single time I'd get followed by somebody, there'd be other people they'd be falling off, right? I mean, you go across Instagram and you see people that have 25, 30 million followers. I've been stuck at 2.5 million effectively for the last 10 years. I have people who call me up saying, I can't find you.
Really?
Eric, I can't find you. I'm like, how can you not find me? I've got millions of followers. I'm on them every single day. I put out different messaging. How can't you find me? There are spam. If you type in ERICTRU, I don't come up. A bunch of parody accounts will come up, but my name doesn't come out unless you do at ERICTRUMP. All the way through. It's the only time you'll see my name. They did everything humanly possible, to make it impossible to find us, to make it impossible to hear from us, impossible to see us. They made it impossible to let our following grow. I mean, it is absolute suppression of free speech. And frankly, it's abuse of their platforms.
Yeah. And this is why I don't think it's too big of a coincidence, or if it is, it's a very fortuitous one. Tulsi Gabbard, a lifelong Democrat, an advocate of free speech, comes out on the exact same day and says, I'm endorsing Donald Trump because of the increasing lurch towards tyrannical behavior by the people who say they're the defenders of freedom and democracy. This is about the most anti-democratic thing you can do, suppress the speech of the people.
Well, look what they did to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah. Right? I mean, obviously the reason he came out and endorsed, they wouldn't let me run in the primary. They sued me over and over and over and over again. You needed hundreds of millions of dollars just to stop the Democrats from suing somebody that was on their own party. All I wanted was a fair shot. I just wanted democracy to work. If he was to beat me, great, or if she was to beat me, fantastic. But why wouldn't you let me run? Why couldn't I be on that debate stage? Why did they silence me? Why did my own party come after me? Why did they sue me over and over for no? And because of that, they stripped his free speech. The media wouldn't allow him on any of the networks. The media wouldn't give him any airtime. I mean, they did the same thing to my father. If they didn't think they could win, okay, then guess what? Let's have a couple radical justices in Colorado rip him off the ballot. Forget about another 340 million people in this country. Let's just have a couple people absolutely rip him off the ballot in that state. Let's do the same thing in Maine. Let's rip him off the ballot in Maine. I mean, it's crazy. At what point these people do anything they can to subvert the will of Americans, of democracy, using, the weaponized government. They've weaponized everything. I mean, they've weaponized the FBI. They've weaponized the DOJ. You saw that with the Russian collusion hoax that turned out to be totally phony, and a lot of other things, right? Yeah. I mean, they've weaponized the military, Dan. I mean, they're out there renaming every single base and kind of falling to this woke cancel culture. They've weaponized healthcare. Look at the whole COVID scandals, right? My father comes out and says, hydroxychloroquine might work. The next day they come out, big pharma. I mean, right. They weaponize absolutely. I would challenge you to name an institution. I mean, look at what they did with education, revisionist history. Look what they've done with textbooks. They've weaponized absolutely every institution for their own gain. I mean, they've been absolute pariahs, and the good news is Americans are really smart, and they're seeing through it. They saw the censorship. My father had to build Truth Social just so he could communicate with hundreds of millions of people who adore him, because those same people rip him off. And then you see the Zuckerberg heartwarming letter. I'm so sorry. The government abused me. They pushed me a little bit too hard, and we fell prey to the. Oh, come on. Come on. You spent $400 million of your own money. $400 million of your own money, and literally threw a guy beloved by 3/4 of American off the biggest social platform in the country. But yes, we're so sorry that the government pushed you a little bit too far. Like, no one in this country buys it. They should be ashamed of themselves, and I hope they have the biggest class action lawsuit against Facebook in the history of this nation.
Yeah, I think the only way is if there are, and I'm not holding my breath for this, a criminal investigation. Hopefully when your father wins back the presidency this November, there will be a Justice Department investigation of this, because that's how gravely serious this is. Sir, if you have another minute, I'd love to talk about the state of the race, especially with respect to Kamala appearing to want to have notes for the debate on September 10th. Notes? Really? Joe Biden isn't even there. He didn't need notes.
Yeah, let me just break this down. When Kamala Harris talks to President Xi or to Putin, she doesn't get notes, right? She better be there. She better be fast. You don't have the luxury of looking down at a piece of paper when you're negotiating with the most powerful world leaders. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy, Dan. Here's the deal. You have a party. Yesterday, my father was laying a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. I think a lot of people saw that, in tribute to Abbey Gate and the botched, obviously withdrawal from Afghanistan that everybody knows so well. Joe Biden on a Monday as commander-in-chief, and this is Kamala Harris, these people have no work ethic. He's laying on a beach.
Yep.
He's laying on a beach. My father's at Arlington National Cemetery as not the president right now, and Joe Biden as the president is laying on a beach. It tells you everything you need to know. Our country is falling apart. People are suffering in this country. Our country is unaffordable. People can't afford mortgages anymore. Mortgage rates are 7-8%, where under my father they were 2.5%. Gas has tripled. Food is unaffordable. You have stagnation in terms of wage growth. I mean, people haven't gotten a raise in 4 years in this country, and everybody knows that. I mean, you have absolute stagnation. They're lying about jobs reports. There was 1 million extra jobs added to the rolls. It actually means our employment rate is actually much closer to 6%. And then when you add the 13 million illegal immigrants that they've let across the border unchecked, it's far, far, far higher than that. Our country, our economy is a disaster. People can't afford to live. Our border is a disaster. You have 300,000 kids that died of fentanyl poisoning last year, and these people don't do a damn thing about it. Yep. We have no standing around the world anymore. We're losing our country. We're losing our First Amendment. We're losing our Constitution. We're losing our Second Amendment. We're losing everything. We're losing absolutely everything. And there are countries that are coming in hot right now. And I just have to say that, China's coming in hot. The whole Middle East is coming in hot. They want to eat our lunch. They want to be the world's superpowers. They want to control everything. They want to be, the currency of the world. They want to have the language of the world. They want ultimate influence. And literally, we have a president that's napping on the beach, can't pay tribute to our soldiers. We have, a presidential candidate, Kamala, who is utterly incompetent, who wants to literally double, triple, quadruple everybody's taxes. You will lose every industry in this country if you do that. All they want to do is regulate you. All they want to do is censor you. All they want to do is pound you into absolute submission. And they want to lie to you. She comes out, the first thing I'm going to do on day one is I'm going to tackle high prices. Yeah. Where are you right now? You are in the office. Your office is 12 feet away from the Oval Office. Where are you, Kamala? Where are you, Joe Biden? Where have you been over the last 4 years as all Americans suffer? Oh, we're going to get very tough on the border. As soon as I'm in, we're going to get very tough on the border. You literally picked a running mate, Tim Walz, who said that if Donald Trump builds a 25-foot wall, we're going to build a ladder factory in Mexico that builds 30-foot ladders. And the rest of the wall you didn't complete. You want these people in there because you want them to be part of the census. You want them to be, obviously voters. They will lie, cheat, and steal. They will say anything. And now you see that she needs notes, apparently, to show up at a debate. The vice president of the United States, who sits in that office every single day, needs notes?
Yes.
I mean, do you think I have notes right now, doing this?
No.
Do you think my father ever uses notes?
Right.
Dan, it's insulting to Americans, and we love your state so much, and there's so many problems that this country has. And I promise you, he's going to come and he's going to save it. He's going to save it. I truly believe that with all my heart.
Well, and I truly believe that he just might be the last hope for this country before we devolve completely into a socialist dystopia. Eric, I can't tell you how incredibly grateful I am for you to be always so generous with your time, for you to be so forthcoming. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Love being on, Dan. Tell everybody we say hi.
He is Eric Trump. I am Dan O'Donnell. We will be right back.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won! So if you're looking for the finest of furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Mullally finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity, and they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Who do you support?
I'm sorry?
I want to know which side you support.
Oh, we support the right.
Ah.
And the left.
What?
The front and back, too.
I don't understand.
No matter which side you sleep on, we support you. And right now, we're providing extra support.
How's that?
Purchase a new Sealy Posturepedic, Beauty Rest, or Serta Perfect Sleeper through Monday and get a strong, supportive box spring free.
Oh.
Shop an employee-free showroom and get a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Elm Cove Sea Queen mattress. Others sell it for $1,799, but Hasselus has it for just $942. Check out the super low pricing on Sealy Posturepedic and Serta Perfect Sleeper too.
Wow.
Plus, free next-day delivery and haul away of your old mattress.
And a free box spring?
Yes, because you deserve our full support.
Well, you got my vote.
Now through Monday at Hasselus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find a self-service employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna here. You know, I just got my brand new Bronco, and the first place I took it was Charisma Customs in Delafield to get it protected. Every time I visit Charisma, I'm just blown away with the amazing cars they have in their shop. Charisma does window tinting, clear bra, custom electronics, and my personal favorite, ceramic coatings. Charisma Customs proudly flies the American flag, supports our law enforcement and our military. Tell them Vicki McKenna sent you when you give them a call at 262-444-2525 or set up your service today at charismacustoms.com.
Well, August 17th is come and gone, and the world of selling real estate has been flipped on its head. Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. Guess what the big change is for sellers? You no longer need to commit to upfront buyer agent commissions. That's going to save you a ton of money if you know where to start. Visit redefinedrealty.com for a free comparable market analysis. Talk to one of our agents and get the full commission story. The big brokerages are going to trick you into thinking you need to pay it. You don't. That's redefinedrealty.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Well, there's still about 6 minutes for me to screw it up, but I dare say this hour we have achieved broadcast excellence. Our thanks once again to Eric Trump as well as Tulsi Gabbard for both joining us this hour. And yes, as I suspected, there was a snafu. We were supposed to have Tulsi on at 9:35, but she's just doing so many radio interviews back to back today. Obviously, everyone in the country wants to talk to her about her Trump endorsement that we were just sort of squeezed out. They did their best, got us on at 10:15. Yes, we will have both interviews as separate podcasts on the we have to start posting in the Dan O'Donnell Highlights podcast section again. We'll also have the video of both, not entirely scintillating video since both were on the phone, so it's just sort of a picture of them, but a reminder, you can always watch the show streaming live via the DanoCam each and every day, 9 o'clock to 11 Central Time on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Very quickly, with our last 5 minutes, I want to make an announcement here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. I am hereby calling for the arrest and criminal charges of Senator Tammy Baldwin. This is not a joke. This is not a bit. This is very serious. She has repeatedly violated Wisconsin Statute 12.05, making false representations affecting elections. Statute reads, and I quote, "No person may knowingly make or publish or cause to be made or published a false representation pertaining to a candidate or referendum which is intended or tends to affect voting at an election." Senator Baldwin has published or allowed to be published the following falsehoods about her Republican opponent, Eric Hovde: that he lives in California, that he hates single mothers, that he wants to ban alcohol sales, that he doesn't want old people to vote, that he wants a national abortion ban, and that the bank he owns has foreign government investors. Because of this, I am calling very publicly for the arrest immediately of Senator Tammy Baldwin. Now, you might think, Dan, this is ridiculous. No one would ever be criminally charged under Wisconsin Statute 12.05. Oh, wait. Yes, one has. A criminal complaint was filed Thursday in where else? Milwaukee County Circuit Court, accusing Assembly candidate Ryan Anchak, 50 years old, of Milwaukee, of knowingly making a false statement about the record of Alderwoman Jocasta Zamarripa in a flyer he continued to distribute ahead of the April 2nd election. Now, Zamarripa did defeat Anchak by a nearly 2-1 margin, story from the Journal Sentinel. But Anchak, because he published this flyer, now faces a maximum penalty of a $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail. His initial court appearance is scheduled for September 19th. He declined to comment or share the name of his attorney. Now, if Anchak can be criminally charged about, and what was, by the way, the misstatement? Ready for this, producer Dave? That he actively fired former Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales, that Zamarripa fired Morales. It was, in fact, the city's Fire and Police Commission. Remember, the commission was so utterly corrupt in firing Morales, it had to pay him $600,000 in a settlement. Zamarripa, of course, supported the ouster of Chief Morales, but she didn't physically fire him. Is this not the exact same thing as saying Eric Hovde has foreign investors in his bank when he doesn't? It's been made clear to the Tammy Baldwin campaign that this is just not true. If Anchak can be arrested, if he can be criminally charged, so too should, nay, must, Tammy Baldwin. She knows he doesn't want to ban alcohol. I was actually at a party at Eric Hovde's during the RNC where I saw Eric Hovde taking a sip of alcohol. I'm telling you, Tammy Baldwin must be arrested. Talk to you tomorrow. Great show today.